So this right here is Aventon's brand new Pace 4. This is the fourth iteration that they've made of this bike, and I think they may have perfected it. Let's go ahead, let's take this out on a ride, go over all the details on it, and check out some of the really unique features that come on this particular bike. So the Pace 4 is priced right around $17.99 full retail, and with that, you're gonna get to pick between 3 different colors and 2 different sizes. This particular one is the size large, and I'm 5'11", and it fits me really well. A couple of things that you'll notice about the Pace 4 is that this doesn't have any suspension on the actual bike frame. And it makes this bike more of a city style riding bike where you're gonna get super efficient riding. You're not gonna have anything that's gonna absorb any of the speed that you could possibly have. But do take note, this does come with a suspension seat post this year. And that's one of the big benefits of most of the new Aventon models this year is that they're adding some little details, just perfecting the models from year over year. And this suspension seat post is super nice, really smooth out on the road. And they have a brand new seat for this. I haven't seen this particular seat used on any other Aventon bike. It's got a little bit more cushion and it's a little bit wider. I think it really fits well with a bike that doesn't have any suspension on the frame, but has nice suspension on the seat post. And even though this bike doesn't have any suspension, it really doesn't feel all that rough on gravel roads like this. It's actually pretty smooth. The suspension seat post really does help out. Now the tires that come on here are eMoto brand. I haven't seen this brand spec'd on a lot of different bikes, but I really do like the way these tires look. They've got a nice city style tread that you could ride in the rain or just over some rough gravel if you wanted to, but they're ideal for pavement and concrete. And these things are gonna have a nice reflective sidewall on the side, and they come on 27.5-inch wheels, and these tires are 2.1 inches wide. Definitely giving you enough cushion for those roads, but not so much that it absorbs some of your speed. Now, as I was saying, these are 27.5-inch rims. Take note that the front wheel does not have a through axle or a quick release. It does attach with a threaded axle, so you're gonna actually thread on a bolt to hold this wheel on. That can be really handy whenever you're in the city. You don't have to worry about somebody coming up and taking your wheel off quickly. But just take note that you will need to carry a 15mm wrench with you just in case you get a flat while you're out on the road. Now on the rear wheel, it's gonna be the exact same size, but instead of a standard hub, you're gonna get your rear motor back here. This is gonna be an Aventon branded 500-watt motor that peaks out at over 860 watts. This thing has a ton of power packed into such a small motor. Now, this is a 36-volt system, which is pretty much brand new to Aventon this year. And I've ridden the SR, the LR, and the Level 3, all with 36-volt systems. And I gotta say, I am blown away at the power and performance that Aventon has gotten out of a 36-volt system. I don't know any other brand that is actually doing that, and they somehow have really given you the power that you would expect out of a 48-volt system, but packed into a much lighter, much more compact 36-volt system. All right, I've got this in the easiest gear. Right now, I've got the pedal assist off, and this bike pretty much just feels like a standard hybrid bike. Not really much else to say about it. I feel like I could pedal it quite a ways. You do feel a little bit of weight from the overall like e-bike part of it, but all in all, it feels like a relatively normal bike. Putting this into eco mode, you are going to start to feel the power of the bike, and it's got a nice feel to it. Now, I did go into the app and I did set this up to be a class 3 e-bike at this point, but I did not adjust any of the settings for the ride tune. So this is stock eco mode. And now do take note that this is a torque sensor, so you are going to get that ability to apply a little bit more pressure to be able to get a little bit more power through it. Now it does look like pedal assist 1 kind of comfortably gets me up to about 10 miles an hour with just casually pedaling. Now if we go to sport mode, let's see what this one gets us up to comfortably. Now, any of these modes, you can push a little bit harder and get a little bit more response out of it. But I'm just gonna kind of lightly pedal this as if I was just cruising through the neighborhood or through the town. I'm getting about 15, almost 15 miles an hour comfortably in sport mode. And then in turbo mode, you can really feel the power kind of kick in. And it's pushing us upwards into this 20 mile an hour range. And again, the harder you push on these pedals, the more that motor is gonna push out power. And I'm just switching through the gears here. This bike is very, very smooth. Feels really good on this road. Now I'm in gear 7, so I've got one more gear to get a little bit harder gear. Pretty much flat ground. And I'm easily doing 23, 24 miles an hour. Now on this bike, just like a lot of the new Aventon bikes, they don't have keys. You unlock them by using the menu system or the app on your phone. And whenever you go to unlock it, it'll just electronically release, just like this. And then whenever you're ready to remove the battery, there's a little button at the top of the battery right here. You're just gonna push in and then the battery comes out. I absolutely love the 36 volt, 20 amp hour batteries that Aventon has come out with, mainly because these things are super light, but they pack a ton of power. They're super dense. So you're gonna get a lot of power, an estimated 70-mile range out of this really small battery. If this was a 48 volt system, a 20 amp hour battery would weigh a lot more than what this 36 volt one does. I'm really impressed with this. I really enjoy the fact that this is such a lightweight battery. It's got a nice rubber coating on the outside. The charge port is right down here. You have a battery indicator on the battery, and then you also have a handle. So if you need to carry it or take it in anywhere, it's really easy to carry. And putting it back in is super simple. The charge port is gonna go down towards the bottom. You're gonna just pop it in there and then pull up. And there you go, the battery's reinstalled and you're ready to go ride. All right, guys, real quick, before we go any further on this review, I wanna take a quick second and just say, if you're enjoying this content, I just ask one thing. Just watch this video all the way through. Watch minutes are extremely important and almost the only thing that's important on YouTube to the YouTube algorithm. And I would really appreciate it if you just watch the entire thing. All right, back to the bike. So now that we know just a little bit more about this bike, let's go ahead. Let's take it outside and do some tests with it. Let's go conquer one of the big hills that I always ride my e-bikes on. Okay, guys, we're coming up to the big hill up here. And this hill is, I would say a little over 1/10 of a mile long would be my guess. And it gets all the way up to 19% grade. I would say the average on this hill is probably between 10 and 12% grade. But up by the driveway, way up there, it is gonna be 19%. We're gonna leave this in turbo. We're gonna get it going with throttle. And we're gonna start pedaling right now. Now I've got this in the hardest gear. I'm gonna get this up to the highest speed that I can before it starts going up in elevation or grade. And now we're hitting about the 5 or 6%. Quick little shift there. We're gonna try to keep this above 10 miles an hour is kind of the goal to make it be a good hill climbing bike. Now it does push these 500 watt motors quite a bit, but remember, this bike can peak out at over 860 watts. And this is where a lot of bikes struggle. This is the 19%. We're doing 13 miles an hour. Not putting a lot of pressure into the pedals, but we're staying above 12. Ooh, this bike did good. This is where we gain. Yeah, we did not see 11 miles an hour on this bike. This bike absolutely crushed it. Wow. 36 volt system with a 500 watt motor just crushed that hill. The Pace 4 is a good hill climber. Very impressed. Now, one thing I've noticed about Aventon bikes is that they are not speed demons. So if you're looking for a bike that's kind of a true speed demon that pushes the limits, that will hit 28, 30 miles an hour, these bikes don't really do that. They're more of a traditional bike with just a little bit more power. than a traditional bike. So you're going to have the power of the motor pushing you, but they're very, very smooth. And you can really tell that they're high quality bikes. They just feel really solid underneath you. Very confidence inspiring bikes, and very smooth with the torque sensor that they've got. The torque sensor just activates very, very smoothly with every single pedal stroke and gives you the power that you would need to get up hills, to go faster on flat ground, or just cruise around. And I am fighting a massive headwind here. So this bike is pushing me easily at 23 miles an hour. If I were on a traditional bike with no motor, I'd probably be going like 5 to 8 miles an hour and struggling quite a bit. But with the 36 volt, 500 watt motor that's on this Aventon, it's pushing me right along. But I am glad I wore this jacket, because it might be spring, but man, once you get going 23 miles an hour, it feels a little chilly. But I'm so glad spring is here. Winter felt way too long. Let's test these brakes. Oh man, I love these new Tektro brakes. These levers, oh, I wish they would just put these on the level 3. Now, something that Aventon did that I really actually was surprised by is they put these BMX style bars on here. It's gonna have this nice bar across the top, which is gonna allow you to mount all kinds of accessories if you want to. So if you like to ride with your cell phone where it's in reach, you could just simply buy a cell phone mount, put that there. You could put a extra cup holder there. You could even put a light on there if you really wanted to. Having BMX bars gives you more versatility up here on this bar, but it also allows you to tilt these handlebars back and forth. So depending on the rider size, you can really dial this in to what feels best for you. One thing that I do want to go over real quick, and we're going to go ahead and test these, are these brand new Tektro brakes. These brakes I've never seen before. This is a new design by Tektro, and I actually really, really like these. I'm a huge fan of Tektro brakes. If you've been watching my videos long enough, you probably already know that. But the feel on these brakes is amazing. There's not hardly any pull before you actually get any kind of bite from the brake lever. That's a really good feeling. And also, this is a big upgrade, in my opinion, over the level 3 brakes, because the level 3 came with Maguras, but they had plastic levers. These Tektros feel really good, and they've got metal levers. Let's go ahead and let's test them out. All right, let's go up here and let's test these brakes in the area that I always test them on. There's a little blacktop area that's a little bit different color than the other blacktop, and that's where I like to kind of see if it'll stop within that distance, get it up to above 20 miles an hour, and here we go. And let's go. Oh, yes, of course. The Tektro brakes. I think that's probably the same as what the level 3 did. I'm not really sure, but that looks like a good distance compared to what I've seen other bikes do. So as you can see, right back here is where the asphalt changes. And then up here is kind of the line where it changes back, where they did some sort of a patch. And I would say I'm a good 3.5 feet from that line. So Tektro brakes did amazing as always. Now, something that's a little bit untraditional for a rear hub motor are not having any cutoff switches on these brakes. And in the past, that would be a little bit concerned, but with the 36 volt system, these 500 watt motors, they're really well controlled. And I just really trust the Aventon kind of ACU technology, being able to control this motor properly. And these brakes are definitely spec'd high enough to be able to be more powerful than what this motor is. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. So not having cutoff switches can actually be pretty nice, because if you're in a situation where you just want to lightly tap the brakes, but you don't want that motor to completely shut off and have to worry about it turning on again, even if it only takes like a millisecond, it's nice to have that power there right as soon as you let off the brakes and you're ready to go again. So looking on the left side of your handlebars, you are going to get these nice ergonomic grips that are Aventon branded, and they're single-sided lock-on. These grips are pretty commonly used across most Aventon bikes, and I really enjoy these. Nice and grippy, and they have that nice ergonomic pad right here, so they feel really good while you're going down the road. And right here, we do have the Shimano 8-speed shifter. This thing shifts super well. Down at the bottom, it's actually attached to an Altus rear derailleur, and this particular bike actually has a Shimano cassette on it. So since it has the cassette on there, this bike is easily upgradable to even bigger gear ranges if you really wanted to. And this also has a really large chain ring down on the crankset. And this particular crankset is attached to a torque sensor. Let's go ahead, let's test out the shifting, and let's talk about this particular torque sensor. Also, what I like about the Aventon torque sensor is that it senses quickly. So I'm in gear 7 right now, which would have been traditionally a very hard gear to get started right back there at that stop sign. But since the torque sensor kicks in so smoothly, it sensed that I was putting pressure on the pedals and helped me along, and I didn't even have to shift gears. That's one of the things that I love about e-bikes is I don't have to do a lot of gear shifting. So on this style of an e-bike, not having to do a lot of gear shifting means that your drivetrain is going to last even longer. Most of the time on these bikes, I do like to see 8-speed transmissions, but most of the time I keep it within like 2, maybe 3 different gears the entire time that I'm riding. So you don't really need a wide range. It's just you get some nicer features with some of these bigger gear ranges like the 8-speed versus the 7-speed. Now the shifting on this does work really smoothly. Shimano shifting has just been spot on for so many years, so none of this surprises me that these trigger shifters work really well. They work good under pressure. And I tested this on the hill climb too, and you guys saw that this thing shifts really well. Pretty surprising that these entry-level 8-speed setups can shift as good as they do. It's just technology that's been around for a long time. Now, if we go ahead and take a look on the left side of the handlebars, you're getting another one of those ergonomic grips, but on the opposite side, you do get the traditional Aventon thumb throttle, which is one of my favorites on the market. Nice and easy to use, really smooth, a good spring rate on it. We're gonna go ahead and give it a throttle test. I've got it in turbo, and we're just gonna see what this gets up to. I believe 20 miles an hour. Yep, that's pretty traditional for Aventon bikes. They don't want to exceed the limit that is really defined when it comes to a class 2 or a class 3 bike. And I don't blame them for that. But you also get Aventon's brand new display and control unit. I really like this because it's super compact. And whenever you turn this thing on, it's got a very nice, vivid color screen that displays everything you need. You've got your time up top. You've got whether or not your headlight is on or off. Whenever you turn your headlight on, it dims a little bit and you can see the headlight indicator. Whenever you turn it off, we'll see the brightness come back up. You also have a percentage and a battery bar. Having both of those is just a really nice add-on. This little bar right here will indicate how much power you're putting out or how much power the motor is actually using. Then down here, you are going to have your speed, so whether you've got miles per hour or kilometers. And then here you're going to have your pedal assist levels. So you've got Eco, Sport, and Turbo. You only get 3 modes on the Aventon, but I have found that those 3 modes are really efficient. And you can also kind of custom tune those inside the app so you can get this bike dialed in to exactly how you want. Now, if we look over on the side right here, you are going to get a little USB-C port. I love the fact that it's USB-C because that's just pretty much the industry standard now. And you can charge your phone while you're on the go. And with all this extra room on the BMX bars, it's going to be real easy to clip a phone to here and then plug it in and have your phone charged while you're going down the road. Now down here is a walk option. So if you hold this down, it'll go into walk mode and help you walk up steep hills if you can't ride up them. You do have your turn signals left and right. And one thing I like about the Aventon turn signals is that they do turn off after a certain amount of time. You're not just going to be riding down the road for miles and miles with your turn signal on. But you also get the indicator built into the screen right here so you can know that your turn signals are actually running. Then you're going to have your plus and your minus button. These are going to switch between all of your pedal assist levels. Then if you want to get into the menu system, you're simply going to hold the plus and the minus button at the exact same time. Now, once you're in there, you can do several different things. It's a really nice, easy to use menu system. You can clear your trip. So if you like to keep track of each individual ride in that moment on the screen, you can clear it. You can go down. Whenever you go into this menu, this will allow you to unlock the battery. They call this battery lock, but it actually unlocks. And you would just simply hit the power button there once you're on this screen, and it will unlock your battery. We can go ahead and go back. Now, here is what gets really cool. You can actually lock this bike. And whenever you lock this bike, the back wheel will not move. It's actually got a lock built into it next to the brake. So you're going to get super nice anti-theft technology built into this. And that's all thanks to this menu system and the ACU unit built into it. Let's go ahead and go back. Here you can display your different units if you want to do miles per hour or kilometers. You can adjust your brightness. There's all kinds of different levels, all the way up to 5. So depending on your riding style and how bright you like the screen, I always just leave it on 5. It's just, I think the display looks really good. It's not so big and obnoxious that it's too bright even at night. You can tell it whether or not you want it to do auto power off, which is a good battery conserver. Then you can set a password on this bike. So not only can you lock the bike, but you can set a password on here. So if anybody comes up and tries to turn this on, they have to enter in your password, and then they can go into the system and actually unlock the bike. So it's almost like dual security. You've got hardware security and you've got software security built into this. You've got some system info, then you can set the date and time if you want. And then down here, this is where you would go if you want to connect into the app. Whenever you click this, it'll give you a QR code. You basically go into the app and take a photo of it. It'll load this bike into your app so you can then control it. Let's go ahead, connect to the app, and then go in there and show you guys what that app's all about. Now, the Aventon app will allow you to do all kinds of different things. You can lock and unlock your bike. You can do this while you're next to the bike via Bluetooth, but you can also do it remotely since the bike has the ACU chip built into it. It has 4G technology. Now, I believe for the first year, you're actually going to get that service included with your bike, but every year after that, I want to say it's around $20 to $25. I'll put the price right here on the screen. It's really reasonable, the price that they're asking for a total year of service to be able to track, unlock, and even do things like get messages if your bike's moved. So that's something that you may want to consider whenever you purchase this bike. Not only are you getting an e-bike with this, but you're also getting all kinds of added benefits with anti-theft, security, and also the ability to see where your bike is, set up geofencing and track it so you don't have to worry about it going anywhere. And if it does go somewhere, well, you can let the authorities know exactly where it's at, because with this app and with the ACU technology built into it, you'll be able to track it down. But you can also track all of your miles and your riding time with this. You can even use the Aventon app to do ride tracking. So if you mounted this to your handlebar, it would show you a map and it would also show you the speed that you're going. So some really cool settings on this. You can turn on your headlight. You can go into more settings, and this is where it gets really cool. You can do simple things like adjust your screen, turn on the auto power on and off and what time you want it to do. You can change your level of assistance with what they call ride tune. This is what I think is one of my favorite things. We first saw this on the Rambless, and now they're starting to put this on all of their bikes, which is super impressive. This will allow you to actually manually adjust what each setting does. So if you get this bike and you think eco is too weak, you can turn it up. Or if you think it's too much, you can lower it down. You can really dial in each setting to what your rider preference is. And you can also see this little chart down here that tells you range, smoothness, and power. And you can kind of play around with these dials and see exactly what adjusting these will do. And don't worry about it, because if you start messing with these and it messes up, you can just go up here and hit the factory reset, and it'll reset them all to the factory settings. So play around with it, see what works for you, and then if you don't like it, just hit the factory reset. Not only can you do this, but you can save profiles. You can actually save these and they'll save up to the cloud. And whenever you want to download them, you just simply go into this app and you can download them and get the specific ride tune that you set up, say a couple months ago, and then switch back and forth and see which one you currently like. Now, also in here, you can go in here and you can actually turn this into a class 3 e-bike, which is what I prefer to do. So I'm gonna raise this up, and this particular bike will allow you to go all the way up to 28 miles an hour. And I do this on all my bikes from Aventon. They used to not let you do this, but over the last year or so, they've kind of changed things up with most of their new bikes, and they allow you to bump the speeds up on them and put them into more of that class 3 territory. And for me, whenever I'm, say, 3 to 4 miles away from something and I just want to get there quick, having that class 3 speed is very nice. But if that scares you, you can keep it as a class 2 as it comes shipped to you and get down the road at around 20 miles an hour. Now, a few other things, this does have an alarm in it. So if somebody tries to walk away with your bike, say you don't have the lock set and they walk away with it, it will sound an alarm, and it would also alert you if you have that set up inside the Aventon app. One thing that's really cool is that you can set this to where whenever you power it off or it powers itself off, that it automatically goes into a lock setting. So whenever you turn on lock when power off, you shut this off, the back wheel locks automatically. In my opinion, that's the way to go. If you're going to be owning this bike, just go ahead and turn that on, because whenever you power it up, enter in your password, it'll unlock for you. You never have to worry about setting that lock anymore, because it'll just automatically do it whenever you power the bike off. Now you can go into what they call security verification, and basically it will ask you to re-identify yourself every so many days. And you can also set this into a lost mode if you did lose the bike. And there's also one other security feature, which is unusual activity detected. If this bike detects that it's being moved in a weird way, like somebody picks it up and carries it away, you can set the sensitivity to that. Now, further down, you can clear passwords, but you can also set up geofencing. So you can basically set up an area that you don't want your bike to go out of. And if it does go out of that, you'll get alerted. Then we have firmware updates. You can back up and restore, so you can save any profiles or settings or anything like that. And then that way you have a backup of it and you can just revert back to it if something ever happened to your bike. And then there's also a transportation mode that basically you can turn this on or off. So if you're going to be putting this on the back of a rack on your car, you don't want it to have to alert you all the time saying, hey, your bike's moving, this is kind of weird. If you put it in that transportation mode, you're not going to get all those alerts all the time. In my opinion, Aventon is leading the way for quality in apps. Their app is super stable and it gives you a ton of options. I don't know any other brand that gives you as many options as what Aventon does, so I'm super impressed with this. This is my favorite app out of all the apps that I've used on any e-bikes that I've owned. Now, this bike does come with a built-in headlight, and it also comes with tail lights. Now, these tail lights, they are not brake tail lights. They will not light up whenever you brake because of the way that these Tektro brakes are designed, but they do light up whenever your headlight is on, and they also allow you to use turn signals. So I've mentioned the ACU technology quite a bit, and just like all the other new Aventon bikes, it's stored down here next to the rear wheel and this seat tube. This is going to give you all that technology that we've been talking about, from the anti-theft stuff to the app settings to being able to do ride tune. This is basically the brains of the bike, and this is probably one of the coolest things that Aventon has added over this last year. They started with the Abound SR, and they've just put it on almost all of their bikes so far. Super impressed with the ACU unit, and the price per year is so low that it's worth having that membership. This bike doesn't come equipped with any rack or fenders, but you can purchase these. It has everything you need on the bike to be able to bolt up a rack or bolt on fenders. And it also has a water bottle mount right here. So you've got lots of mounting options, from the BMX bars to the mounting points that are actually on the frame of the bike, to be able to get extra accessories however you want to see fit. So guys, this is a size large, and I am 5'11", and I've got plenty of space to move this down, and I've got plenty of space to raise the seat up, and this bike just feels so good. I love these BMX bars, having them pushed back just a little bit and having the seat positioned just right. This suspension seat post is really, really nice too. But yeah, this is what I look like on a size large. And I've got to say, this seems to be the right size for somebody who is 5'11". In my opinion, Aventon is by far one of the most premium brands that you can find on the market. They have several different style of bikes to pick from, all the way from EMTBs, all the way to fat tire cruising bikes. So if you think the Pace 4 is the right bike for you, Definitely go check out more detail on it on their website. I'll put some links down below. And if you use those links, I would appreciate it because they are affiliated, but there's no additional cost to you, but it does help support this channel. So if you're enjoying this content, using those links if you plan on buying a bike is a huge help. But if you find that the Pace 4 is not the bike for you, you're definitely going to want to go check out their full lineup because Aventon does have all kinds of different models to pick from, and I bet they have one that you're gonna like. All right, guys, if you like this video and you wanna see more of these style of reviews, definitely subscribe. This is a brand new channel and I am trying to grow it, and I appreciate every single one of you subscribing and also watching these videos. And if you could, hit that like button. It helps push it out in the algorithm, and that's awesome also. And while you're at it, leave me a comment and let me know what you think of Aventon's 4th iteration of the Pace. I think this bike is pretty stinking nice. But if you guys are really into this and you want to help support this channel even more, you can jump over to my Patreon, Mike's Unlocked Garage. There'll be a link here or down in the description. And over there, for as little as $3 a month, you get early access and you can message me directly. But as always, guys, get out there and ride your e-bike.